Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Motorhead Garage is presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Welcome to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Check this out. This is the human hoist from Personal Positioning Technologies. They were made famous by this chair. This allows folks that have been injured to get back on the job. And folks who do this every day, they can prevent injury by using this chair. And that's kind of the motive behind your new chair here, Steve. This is the Power Shop Stool.
Correct.
Tell me how this stool works and why you guys came up with it.
Very, very simple. Two buttons, you press both down buttons, it takes you completely down to the floor.
All the way down to the floor.
Press the other two buttons, it brings you all the way back up.
Cool.
26 inches high, it's nice and high so you don't have to exert yourself to get up, kind of roll up and out of it.
That's what folks who do this every day don't really think about. You know, you go to work day after day, maybe you're a body man or a mechanic and you're working all day getting up and down, maybe down to your creeper or all the way down to the bottom of the vehicle. How is this changing lives for people who are buying these?
These are the hardest working guys. They're up and down all day long, and this makes it easier to do your job. You're not as tired at the end of the day. You're not wearing your knees and your hips and your ankles.
And it's a repetitive motion that you found really contributes to injuries later in life.
That up and down all the time and on one knee and doing all this. So what we do is we're putting people in the right position to do their job.
Who are the folks that you see that are really interested in this chair?
Everybody. Auto mechanics. We've got people in plants where they build electrical cabinets. They get down and are able to work on things. Machine repair. Just about any place that you need to work under or around something. That's what we do, personal positioning.
When you go to talk to people in different industries, how much do you find that people are sort of being the tough guy? They're afraid to use something like, oh, I don't need it. How much of that do you find?
We see that, yeah. The guys, mid to late 20s, good shape. I don't need that. Those are the guys in 20 years that are going to be saying, hey, my knees, my hips. What
are you hearing from folks who've used this chair and it's changed their lives?
The biggest thing I hear is I'm not tired at the end of the day. We've had employees that were at a job for a long time, fearing that they may have to go out on disability, and we can keep them at that job. And a lot of folks are able to come back from an injury quicker.
And then how much do you see employers looking at this for their employees?
Employers look at it from an entirely different standpoint. They can prevent injury, they reduce the risk of injury. You're not doing those same things over and over and over. We also improve productivity and improve quality. If you're reaching hard and trying to get up and tighten a bolt, you may or may not get it right. You may or may not cross-thread it. You may or may not get it torqued properly. So if you can be in the proper position where you can see what you're doing, do your job.
Gotcha. And the chair, how do we know it's going to last through all this repetitive motion?
They're all engineered and built here in the United States. The big chair is built in Bay City, Michigan. All steel construction. It's got a maintenance-free motor. We use a removable battery. Comes with a battery and chargers. So we know that this is a durable piece that'll last for a long time.
This has a feature that I really love, the tool tray that you have on the side.
Yeah, it's something that we developed. This is the expandable tool tray. It's out of your way when you're not using it, but when you do need a place to hold your tools or parts.
That is so cool. And what kind of activity is this replacing? You're doing all kinds of stuff with your body all day long. This eliminates a lot of that.
Basically bending, stooping, and crawling. Anytime that you've got to get down on one knee, anytime that you've got to get down underneath and sit and work on something, a hub, a brake, anything like that, this is what that does.
And now let's move on to the human hoist, the chair that made you guys famous.
Yep.
Who's using this?
That's our flagship product. We've got those in aircraft manufacturers, agricultural equipment manufacturers, truck plants. It's very similar to the stool, but it also allows you to lie down. So you can get underneath something, again, supported with adjustable headrest, backrest, put you in the proper position to do your job.
And for folks who've been injured on the job or off the job, how does this get them back to work quicker?
We've actually had a couple places where somebody was injured and laboring to do their job. So once they got their human hoist, they found that they were able to do their job better, faster, all that stuff. And then after surgery, they were able to actually come back earlier.
And you guys have told me a lot of companies are using these to rehabilitate some of their employees as well.
That's correct. In the instance where you've got someone with limited or restricted lower limb mobility, they can go back out in the shop and do the work that they were doing before.
How are insurance companies looking at this chair?
At this point, we're hoping that they'll entertain this as a way to cut their costs, eliminate their risk. If you can put somebody on this when they're 20 or 30 years old, they'll work their entire career without having to have a new hip put in or have a new knee put in.
And people say if you think it's expensive to stay healthy, you ought to see how expensive it is to be sick or to be unwell.
Absolutely, yeah. The cost of a knee I've got, I think, 2012 figures, but the cost of a knee is like $58,000, a hip is $36,000, something like that. So these are a very expensive piece of machinery. They're all stainless steel, aluminum bronze pins, very highly engineered, made to last a lifetime. So yes, they are expensive, but when you compare that to the cost of having a joint replaced and the pain and the time down and all that stuff, and from an employer perspective, if you've got an employee that you've had for years on a job and you've got to take them out of that workforce for 3 months, how do you replace that guy? This is the guy that's got all the knowledge and stuff. It benefits everybody. It's a win-win-win. And now we have a new product that we've introduced, the mobile shop chair. All the features of the human hoist, but it drives.
And a chair like that's perfect for folks with more extreme mobility issues, of course.
Absolutely.
These chairs from PPT can change your life. They can change the life of your employees. Check them out at humanhoist.com. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. I promise.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Skyjacker Suspensions, leading the market for leveling kits, sport lifts, and suspension kits. And by NH Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Self-leveling suspension technology has been around for about 60 years in cars. Mercedes and BMWs, just to name a few. But if you're talking motorcycles, well, that technology is brand new. There's only one place on the planet to get it. That's Wilber's USA, Klaus. Now, first of all, tell me why I need self-leveling suspension on a motorcycle.
You want a suspension system that you can set for yourself and forget about it afterwards. All conventional suspensions require adjustments when you add a passenger or luggage.
And we're talking safety issues. The attitude of the bike changes when you get on it, or when your passenger gets on it, or when you put a load on it.
Yes, when you don't make the adjustments, you change the geometry. If you add a passenger to the rear, the bike will sag in the rear and the front will be up. So you change the geometry. With a self-leveling suspension, it will pump itself up to the predefined level and you are safe to go. You have the full suspension travel and you have the load on the bike.
Obviously, the bike will handle differently with a load on it, with normal suspension.
Yes.
And the ride won't be as good with a traditional suspension. So you guys are correcting that problem. Again, this technology has been around for a long time. How has it evolved over the years?
Material changes, material technology, new ideas come to the market and so on. So it was a development by ZF now to bring it into the motorcycle market in conjunction with Wilber's USA.
How long has Wilber's USA been working on this?
Wilber's USA has been working together with a mother company in Germany for quite some time.
And how long has the suspension been available?
The self-leveling suspension for the motorcycle is available since about 5 years now.
Well, thanks, Klaus. And Mike's going to explain a little bit how it all works. But first of all, I know folks are going to get a kit from Wilber's USA when they want to convert over. What comes in the kit?
So when you order the kit from Wilber's, you're going to get front fork springs, the set of rear shocks, and fork oil, everything you need to install on your Harley touring bike.
How does the NIVAMAT system work?
This shock here, as weight is added to the bike with a luggage or a passenger, this shock is going to move oil from a low pressure to a high pressure chamber in order to lift the bike back up to the right amount of sag.
Well, this is off of a stock Harley. This is on the rear, and if you're riding along and you decide you want to pick up a passenger, all you have to do is take off the saddlebags on the back, and then you start cranking down to adjust the suspension to where you want. What kind of adjustments do I need to do with the NIVAMAT?
There is one adjustment when you first get the set. You set your preload with the conventional shock here. After that, you never have to make an adjustment again. So never have to pull those bags off to crank down the preload adjuster like on the OEM stuff. You're always at the right height for maximum comfort, maximum safety.
And you can see here on the stock Harley, not a whole lot of suspension travel on that spring. Not a very strong spring to begin with, so that sags, and then you add a passenger that sags even more, then you load it in a corner, and suddenly you're down on the bump.
That's it. You're feeling every bump. Now, with the NIVAMAT, you're always at the right height, so you never have to worry about that.
That's very cool. Now, the fork springs are another part of that system. How are those different?
So these are the fork springs that come with the NIVAMAT shock system. It is a progressively wound, zero friction coating spring. This helps reduce brake dive and helps increase comfort and safety.
As a rider, what are the things you experience if you're on a bike with traditional suspension, and how can things get wonky on you when you start to add a load to it?
As soon as you add that load to it, the rear of the bike sagged all the way down. You feel like you're riding a chopper, pretty much. You're gonna feel every bump that suspension, you have no usable suspension left. With the NHOU, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
And then as far as cornering, what is that like when the bike's already loaded? It's already preloaded before you go into the corner.
Yeah, it's going to want to push wide on you. There's not enough weight on the front wheel, so there's less traction there. It's going to just want to push out on the corners on you, but don't have to worry about that.
I know you guys stand behind your product. What's the warranty?
The Wilber's NHOU shocks come with a 5-year warranty, so you don't have to worry about anything.
Well, you don't have to worry about anything with the Wilber's NHOU suspension. You can find it at wilbersusa.com, and you can use the keyword Motorhead to get a special discount for our viewers. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Keep it right here. Thanks for tuning in to Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. When it comes to work trucks, it's all about function. Well, here's a guy who brought form into that equation. Now tell me, Scott, at Pay Fabrications, how did you decide to revolutionize truck bed design?
Well, it's just one of those things. Trucks are constantly evolving, but we've had the same bed for, the last 40 years. The minor things have changed, but that's it. Trucks have evolved to things that we can't even recognize anymore, so why don't the beds follow? So we take and we match the styling. I mean, we have these beautiful body lines that fall from front to back. We have different colors, we have lights, we have all kinds of things. New trucks have so many sensors, it's unbelievable. We can actually utilize your parking sensors, your backup cameras, everything function properly.
So what's the process like when somebody wants to build like this? And I have to remind folks, we're looking at a prototype here, so this is super simple. You've got a lot of other.
Oh, yes, sir.
It goes from mild to wild.
So, I mean, the first question is always going to be, what are you doing with it? We'll set our boxes up to where it's going to meet the tools you desire. Some guys don't even need boxes. For me, this truck's hooked up to a different trailer every day of the week. I keep the tools in the trailer and keep my truck clear. We can do fuel tanks above the deck, below the deck. Our main purpose is get all of your tools in this safely, securely, and watertight, make it the most user-friendly possible, and keep everything hidden.
And you keep everything hidden because you're going to be working during the day, but you want to look great going into town at night, and you guys accomplish that.
Yes, sir. I mean, for years we've had our work truck that's tied up to work. You can't take it to your kid's softball game without worrying. You can't take it to church because you're just rolling in your work truck. I mean, most of our work trucks nowadays are $60,000. Let's take it where we can drive that truck everywhere. Utilize your investment in more than just work.
You've streamlined everything by putting the boxes actually in the bed, and that enables you to tow as well instead of having the boxes obstruct all of that. How important was that feature to keep it all clean?
That's one of our main focuses, is to keep the nice streamlined look, keep decks where they're easy to work off of. You go to set a pallet on there and most beds you're limited to 1 to 2 pallets. We can get 3 to 4 pallets on this bed easy.
And the hitches themselves, when you want to use a hitch, what kind of accessories are you using there?
Yes, sir, that's where we utilize the BMW hitch. They tie in perfectly to these beds. They offer their weld-in kit, which is phenomenal. You have the ball that flips over and you have a nice smooth deck once again. And then we can utilize all the attachments they come with, where you can do the BMW companion for hauling your campers and such like that.
You made everything streamlined, you made it efficient, and especially when it comes to the lighting.
Yes, sir.
I love some of the little touches you have. Tell me about that.
So the lighting is one of the things that really set us apart when we were first starting. On most of your beds, you're going to have brake, turn, and then your reverse. Well, that's where we go to the guys at trucks with dual revolution lights. Every light on this bed is on at all times when needed. So our turn lights, you put it in reverse, and they're all reverse lights. So there's no dead holes, and then you can also take and use what are now reverse lights and driving lights as work lights. The benefits are outstanding.
Form and function in the same package.
Yes, sir.
And some considerations you've taken, because guys and gals are out working in the field. These are subjected to the elements all the time. How do you protect it from that?
In Texas, we fight mud. Up north, y'all fight salt. They act the same. So what we've gone through is we do a very simple design of running all of our plate for our boxes smooth. There's no cavities inside the bed for all that stuff to build up, eliminating majority of the rust out. Now these beds will rot at one point, but most beds on the market, you get 5 years out of them max. We use a nice heavy gauge material, we do good coating, and we eliminate the pockets for it to all hang out. Where most of your beds nowadays are built with 14, sometimes 11 gauge. All of these, that's 3/16. It's not going to give. Our top decks are all braced every 14 inches with a 10 gauge steel plate deck. We make them strong and we make them last. And then following getting rid of all the cavities for everything to build up in, we go through and follow And our entire inner fender covers the whole tire. It gets rid of the pockets, and a major problem we have with a lot of them is the fender will get into the tire and cut. So now, when this fender hits that tire, it's got a smooth platform that's not going to cut it.
You guys thought of everything. These are as useful as they are good looking. You can find them at Pay Fabrications on Facebook. And you can find more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings when we come back.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by BrothersTrucks.com, your #1 source for 1947 to 87 Chevy and GMC truck restoration. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Resin Works, made in America, installed locally. And by Rupes USA, innovation, technology, design.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, and this is a Polaris Razor equipped with a Hoppe audio shade. Now here, tell me, JD, we see some speakers in here, but this is not just a stereo system. What else does the audio shade do for us?
So the audio shade is designed to solve a lot of problems. It allows us to get speakers. It gives you an AM/FM head unit. It also comes with front and rear light bars, and it has RGB lights that kind of act as dome lights and also allows you to change the lights with the music as you go listening to it.
So with just changing the roof on your vehicle, you get all that stuff. What's it like to install it?
Installing is super easy. At the company, we design and scan in the frames, and we reverse engineer those, and then we design the molds exactly how we want to fit, and so when you get it, it comes fully assembled and ready to install.
I know the first thing everybody probably asks, how does this hold up to the elements?
So the audio shades are perfectly sealed, and you can just ride them all day long, and then you just take a power washer at the end of the day, and you can just power wash the heck out of it and clean it. It makes it really simple. No mud daubers, nests getting into them. They're just perfect.
Now this is for the 4-seater. It's a little hard to crane our neck, so we're going to go look at the 2-seater version, which has all the same technology. We just flipped it up for you to see it. Tell me what's all involved here.
So every audio shade, it doesn't matter which model it fits. We build them specific for the manufacturers and the model of those. So it doesn't matter if it's a Polaris or a Can-Am or a Kawasaki. And so we'll reverse engineer that, and then we'll put all the components in it. And we have a partnership with Kicker. They're in Oklahoma. So all the audio components, the head unit, the amps, everything comes from them. So it's a very tried and tested brand. It's the best audio equipment in the industry. And what we do is we fully assemble the roof for you. So when you get it in a crate, it would look just like this. All you have to do is take it out of the crate. You need a couple buddies to help you set it on. This one's on the 2-seater. So you just take the clamps and they go right around the roll cage. There's 2 here and then 2 here. And then we give you a wiring harness that comes right here, and you'll just run it down like the C post or the B post, and you run it right down to the battery, and then it has a connector for the firewall. So it literally plugs in place.
What takes longer, taking it out of the box or actually installing it?
Taking it out of the box, actually. And then everything that you need to control it is right here. So it comes with the AM/FM unit. Most of the audio equipment out on the aftermarket for off-road, it has just Bluetooth. But we have AM/FM and Bluetooth. And then also we have lighted switch panels so you can turn the front and rear light bars. These are the interior dome lights right here, so you can turn them to all white. You can play your music to it. Real convenient for you. And then it has front and rear light bars. You can see the rear one light up and then the front one. So we have a 31-inch front light bar and a 10-inch rear light bar.
Now, do I need an amp to go with that?
No, the amps come in the audio shades, and they're built specifically to get the optimum power with no distortion whatsoever.
All right, and what if I don't want an entire roof? You brought these in. These are the minis.
So these are our minis. They're one of our hottest selling items that we've ever produced. They're flying off the shelf as fast as we can. Not everyone wants the high-end stuff. Some just want music. And most of the low-cost options we found out there, they only had Bluetooth and wiring was a pain. So we solved all those problems right here in that we get all Kicker audio components again. You get a dome light, and you get a fully assembled unit that has AM, FM, and Bluetooth. And then has all the wiring harnesses, come with the OEM connectors to plug and play, and should install in about 15 minutes. And it's really that simple. You pull it out of the box, stick it up there, and there you go.
Great way to get some utility, great way to get your tunes when you're out on the trail, or maybe you're out on the farm all day long and you just want to listen to a little music. Check them out at hoppeindustries.com. And oh, by the way, these Kicker speakers, we're not going to play them for you on TV because it won't translate. You got to get to your dealer to hear them. No distortion. The sound is amazing.
Time now for the lowdown with Magic Creeper.
Here at Masters Entertainment Group, we're always doing something, whether it's Motorhead Garage or one of our other shows like Tech Garage, or maybe some live streaming. We're always towing something down the road. So we always have our pickup truck, we always have our trailer behind us, and we always have the Magic Creeper. First, before we get ready to go, We use the Magic Creeper for checking air pressures on the vehicle. You can use it as a knee pad. Just drop it down to the ground. It will save your knees. It sounds like a little thing, but really, your knees will be thankful that you have the Magic Creeper. Checking the fluids as you should before any trip. You can use the Magic Creeper as a fender protector. It'll keep your vehicle from getting scratched up. It'll keep your clothes from getting dirty. The Magic Creeper really comes in handy when you're on the road. Now, you might never need it, and hopefully you won't, but when you need it, when there's an emergency, the Magic Creeper, you just pull it right out from under the seat. You can change a tire, use it again as a knee pad. That way, if you need to get under the vehicle to check it out, the Magic Creeper works on any surface, not like a regular creeper. You can go on rocks, you can go on gravel, you can go on glass. You can roll over your tools. You won't even notice. Big rocks and mud, no problem for the Magic Creeper. Keep your clothes dry, keep your clothes clean, make the fixes you need to do, and get on your way. We swear by the Magic Creeper, and you're gonna swear by it too. You can only find the authentic Magic Creeper at magiccreeper.com. And that is going to do it for this episode of Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. We're glad you came along for the ride, and we're going to do it once again next week. We hope you join us then. In the meantime, if you have a product you want to see on the show, email Jeff at masterstv.com. From all the folks here at Motorhead Garage, we will see you next time. So long.